Hello and welcome to Voices of Change Stories That Matter. I'm your host, Andrea Kanaris, and I would like to point you before we get started, if you can hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss future episodes, and also head over to Substack, sign up there for paid content, but there's also lots of free content, so head over there as well. But today I've got with me Radek Wierzbicki, and I'm hoping I got that
Correct.
right because I've been practicing. Radek is actually in Maldiva at the moment. He has two particular things he'd really like to make sure we talk about today. And one is Unsung Heroes, which is your foundation, and the venture capital for humanitarian tech, particularly in the spaces of startup in developing countries. So, Radek, I'm going to throw it to you rather than me speak for yourself. If you could introduce yourself and let our viewers know a little bit about what it is that you do.
Sure. Thanks, sir. Thank you, Andrea. Thank you for the invitation. I'm Radek Wierzbicki. I'm a founder of CEO of Unsung Heroes Ventures for Humanity. We are, we are connecting humanitarian organizations with startups, building better tomorrow, because we believe that simultaneously startups believe that they can change the world, also humanitarian organizations that are changing the world. But despite the fact that trying to do these better things, they do not talk each other because they do know each other. So we are connecting those dots and putting some innovations to humanitarian area or the kind of international development aid area, like hydroponic solutions for humanitarian organizations, putting to some communities, like some irrigation systems and this kind of stuff that can save a bit water using less energy and this kind of things. And we started to launch our ventures like Humanity Badge, connecting humanitarian workers worldwide, or empowering employees in remote areas in Africa. What's why in 2 years we were able to make it happen? We work with mentors across more than 40 countries because we started probably pro bono. And as this kind of movement of supporting innovations in the humanitarian sector started, many people join us because they see the power and the focusing on social impact. And it's still beautiful in what we're doing. Right now, we are funded after 2 years. For example, we do different projects funded by the Polish American Freedom Foundation, the Polish Ministry of Foreign Affairs in the program Polish Aid, by UNDP, the new project in Chad that we will implement walls, solar panels, RFID readers, blockchain in refugee camps in northeastern Chad. Yeah, so more or less it's what we do.
Yeah. So that's great. So if we were, thank you for that backdrop that gives people an understanding of where you're coming from and the kind of work that you do. It's really useful, I find, in these discussions to sort of make sure that, because social impact can mean so many different things to different people. So in your work, when you talk about social impact, what does it mean for you? And also, why is it important in the work that you do?
So from our perspective, when we think about social impact, we think about some so-called devil's cycles that there's the problem of so for example, for now when we are looking for some technologies, we are focusing on this kind of devil's cycle, starting for example about climate impact and
Yes.
climate change impact agriculture. Because of waste in agriculture, because of climate, the situation going to be worse and we have conflicts. And this is like the, as we used to so call it, like devil cycle. So we cannot, once we must stop it somewhere, so we must put some solutions that cover all of these aspects. But the problem with overall humanitarian or development aid is it's like pro bono support. So if the project takes 2 years to
Yes.
do like just wells or irrigation systems, after 2 years it's all collapsed. Majority of wells in Africa are not working because when donor gives it for free, the project takes 2 years. They are maintaining this, but after then, it's collapsed. So
Yeah.
when we think about social impact, we look at this more wider, and we try to build social entrepreneurship, social enterprises. Because if somebody has even some little money to make to if this person receives even small money, but he or she has the motivation to care of this, even if this is not innovation as just a well, but this person has motivation to care of it. So, for example, in chat, when we are doing these wells with pumps and solar panels, it's a very I think it's a new approach, because each person have like 3 liters of water free of charge every day. But
Yeah.
if you want to use more, you must pay in the grocery a little money. And this little money gives for the people who work with the system to maintain this, to protect this, that after 2 years, it still can exist. So,
Okay.
so this is the change that we are doing to keep this technologies stay alive after projects are finished. So only then we can create the long-term impact.
Yeah.
And it's valuable, the social impact, because if we will not build these innovations, for example, in Africa, what else people who live there can do?
Yeah.
They watch TV, they have a lot of advertisements on LinkedIn and other things, and come to Europe, you can get a lot of money, even illegally. And then sometimes they trust these advertisements. And what happens next? They become like the human trafficking, other things like that, or they have no work,
Yeah.
but they cannot go to a doctor, they cannot find any job. So even for example, for us, when I go to Africa, many people ask me about how they can get to Europe. I'm saying
Right.
them that you shouldn't think to do this illegally, because once you do this illegally, you have no rights, etc. Try to find study in Europe, try to work with humanitarian organizations, so then you can somehow do some exchange, and then be person with all rights, and so on. But if you want to make Africa great again,
Yes.
so what we should do, we should invest and put technologies and maintain these
Yes.
technologies by many years in Africa to build these assets to
Yeah.
grow in Africa.
So, Radek, that's such a good point, because brain drain happens, right? If all the good people leave a country, then how do you build it up to improve and make it, put in the infrastructure, which I think you're trying to do, to provide the conditions for which the population can thrive? And that seems like a lovely, sustainable way to approach the issue. People leaving, if all the good people leave, in particular the people that are productive and capable and competent leave, that it doesn't help Africa, as you say.
Yeah, yes, I do agree, because we also know a lot of people, like we call them unsung heroes, but not as the name of the organization, truly unsung heroes,
Yes.
who do some innovations on the ground, like from the village
Yes.
perspective. But what happens, even if they have a lot of persistence, that the heroes in local communities, if you
Mm.
are not able to give them like 100 or $500 to buy some raw materials or equipment to create this innovation, they will never do so. So what
Yeah.
we are doing is to creating the fund where we are supporting those very small innovations at the beginning, but
Yes.
without the component of money, you can change nothing, because this person will get working somewhere, getting $2, $3, $5, $10 a day,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's all. He or she will spend everything for food, to buy some clothes for children, and
Of
they
course.
cannot grow. But if once you give them the investment ticket, like $500, he buys something to create something that they can generate money. So suddenly we change Africa, Asia,
Yeah.
as an
And you do this across the globe, yes? Yes. And you mentioned in there unsung heroes, not as so much as in literally unsung heroes people, but you also have a foundation. that you have established. And what work do you do through the foundation? What is the Unsung Heroes Foundation?
So majority of activities is to empowering entrepreneurship in local communities worldwide. So we did some programs in Peru, Bangladesh, Kenya, Chad, Benin, Nigeria, and some others. And at the beginning, we were offering mostly mentoring as we work with people worldwide. But also we put some small tickets at the beginning for example, in Nigeria, to rent some land and do seeds with mazini corn to put this for people who never got any land, and right now they have harvest, they can take it for them, they have a surplus, they can sell it. So somehow this society started to grow. Kids can have shoes. Once children have shoes, they can go to the school, because if you want to send your children to school, they must have shoes. So 10 million children in Nigeria cannot go to schools because they do not have shoes. And so they cannot read, write, and unfortunately, without support from many, many organizations, it is changing, but very slowly. We don't have
Yes.
US aid anymore. All European countries decrease amount of money putting to development aid. I think in the next few years, will be the aid will be changed turnover. I don't know how to say, by private people who will support more. They are more conscious,
Yeah.
and this is the way how we can improve quality of life for those people.
Yeah.
Because people, I mean, private people, they just want to make the world a better place. When you think about development aid, in many ways, it's somehow, and it's officially, even like in the US, officially mentions that we give you money, but what you give us for that. So right now it's like officially this is like the mutual benefit system that I cannot agree with this, and to we're trying to still be like just support for people.
Yes.
So majority of programs, this is about incubating first-time funders
Yeah.
and giving some scholarships for kindergartens or primary schools, pupils
Yeah.
to go to schools. So this is our main things. And we are focusing on that, and we are creating our first ventures, Humanity Badge, that you can build credibility as a grassroots NGO. You can
Yeah.
create your website free of charge. You can look for grants. We can support you with writing grants as an NGO.
Yeah.
And the second thing, like DPS flow. So if you live in the remote area, you have 10 siblings. You cannot go beyond the village. Through DPS flow, you can get some contract to sew some clothes. And somebody from the town comes to you, give you raw materials. You are sewing, then he or she comes back, check the quality, pay you, and you don't have to go beyond
Yeah.
your village, for example. And more,
Yes.
when we were in Tanzania, we also did some partnerships. So we also will do some softwares for Tanzania's funders, because they do not have any capacity. They don't know any software developers living in the areas. So only one way to build this is through Unsung Heroes. And through all this experience, we are opening the venture fund, focusing on those small, um, first-time founders. We can offer like small tickets, but on that areas, we can make a big change.
Yeah. That, I mean, you're doing amazing work, certainly in a lot of countries that very much need a lot of support. And at a time, as you point out, that aid has been cut in a lot of ways. So people are having to be a lot more innovative and looking at where they can fund and how they can fund and resource these great projects. But I'm curious, what was your inspiration for you? How did you find your way into social impact? What inspired you to get into this kind of work? And are there any milestones that sort of shape your career?
Well, at the beginning, I created a few let's say, general startups, just thinking of myself, etc. But I always missing something in my life. And the first idea was to create a agriculture incubator in my hometown in Poland. But then I saw the YouTube ad with Doctors Without Borders, and I said, maybe bring some innovations for humanitarian sector. So I spoke with some organizations, and the first one that was truly interested was Polish Humanitarian Action, and we started to work together. We were speaking about the needs. We were doing a call for startups, describing what startups are we looking for, and we had the first cohort. There were like 74 startups from 29 countries who applied. We
Yeah.
selected about 20 from 19 countries. There was mostly one country, one startup.
Mm.
And it started. At that moment,
Yeah.
it was probably pro bono, everything. So we are putting our free time. But I believe we are on the momentum when I can focus all my time just on unsung heroes, because once this is the foundation, you must have like a lot of money to, because once you give like 90% for people, so you must live for those 10%, and something in our level when we are just the beginners. So we must do different things, and but I think this is the year where we are putting 100% of time on unsung heroes. And I'm very excited about this. I'm proud of our people
Yes.
working with us. I'm very thankful, grateful for mentors, startups that supporting our initiative. Yeah, I didn't realize that 2 years later, when I just came up with the idea, I will travel from Tanzania to Moldova, then to Chad, doing different projects, trainings, presenting
Yeah.
computers, solar panels. Yes,
So it sounds, Radek, like you just had the idea and just started. You just took
without
action.
money, without knowing anybody, just being a crazy man asking people for mentorship, as you know, exactly.
Yeah. No, I think it's amazing. It's a great message for people out there who are wondering, they have all these great ideas and they're wondering about how to start. And I think listening to your story, what I heard was just start talking to people, asking
Yes,
people, letting them know what it is you want to do, that you see a problem and that can you work with me for a solution? Because it sounds like that's all you kind of did and it snowballed from there into something that's really quite amazing. What you've achieved in 2 short years is pretty incredible. That's great. But I'm sure people listening are always going, surely it can't be that easy. And we all know that there's always challenges along the way. So, what were the challenges that you found along your way? Along the way, what were the biggest challenges and how did you overcome them?
so when I mentioned that there was the one like Polish Humanitarian Action that was interested, it
Mm,
doesn't mean we just write to one organization and they were interested. We write to many of them, and we've been
yeah,
rejected many times. Many mentors were asking for money, and we had to say, unfortunately, we cannot. So only those who could offer for support, like just giving their time,
mm,
we selected them. There were thousands of talks, and
mm,
10% or less, we got so-called the match.
yeah,
And so this is maybe about persistence,
yeah,
because even people say no. If the door is closed, we try it by a window,
yeah,
not directly, but um, and yes, I think this is about persistence. Many times
yes,
we've been rejected when we're applying for grants. Many often we saw that if there's like 10 winners, we are the 11 one with missing one
yeah,
point. So we think what's the truth behind that? That are always 1 point below those who receive. Um,
yeah,
and but we still going, and I think
yeah,
that was the so this. persistent component is the key to succeed.
Yeah.
I don't know how to
I
say it because
imagine.
my
Yeah.
nobody needs 2 steps back to jump 3 steps ahead.
Yeah. And I can imagine that you would have learnt a lot every time you get rejected and you get some feedback as to why, how you can do a
Yes.
submission better, or how do you do your grant funding applications better, how do you improve. So it's a bit of grit and a bit of persistence, I guess, or a lot of persistence by the sounds of things. Yeah.
Yes, it's about people attracting people conscious or unconscious somehow. So, for example, right now, after 2 years, more and more people with so I don't know how to say properly from the unconscious point of view that we bring people who we enjoy working each other. They support us in many cases.
Yeah.
At the beginning, it wasn't like that, but after yes, 3 years, after 2 years, the more and more valuable people with passion, comes to
Yeah.
us, and we grow because of people who are with us on this boat that's going
Yeah.
somewhere to Africa or Asia and Latin America.
Mm.
Yeah, but okay. In the summary, this is about persistence. So, yes, it's the succeed is like 5% of those that you see, but 95% are other failures in the middle. That's only in our memory.
Yeah. Yeah. So in terms of, so you didn't start off in social impact and humanitarian work. What you said that something
I
was
was
missing.
working in investment banking and corporate banking up to 20.
Investment investment banking, and you start up
Yeah.
venture capital. So I guess it makes sense how you land in working in the spaces of venture capital. And because what I've noticed when I listen to you, when you talk about what it is you're doing, it's very different than some of the humanitarian work that I see, which is in the sense that you're very focused on this, I guess, empowering them to be able to do their own business, to take care of
Hmm.
themselves. Is that right? So you really,
Yes. And
not a
it's
lot of
about
humanitarian work sort of sits in that space. A lot of humanitarian work is, yes, it's about clean water and it's about development and stuff like that. But this has got a little bit of a twist on it, and I guess that makes sense. If as an investment banker, I guess you bring that lens to the humanitarian work, which
yes, from this perspective, yes, but from the perspective of beneficiaries, they will not understand. So
they
what
would
is
not
it about?
understand.
But
Yeah.
unfortunately, but it's also about mental. So when we are doing those workshops in Tanzania in Mwanza city,
Yes.
where we want to launch Mwanza Digital Center in the next year, but the problem is when you're saying people that they can do everything. They can do what we did. So if you have LinkedIn and you want to create any company, just find people from other countries, just asking them for feedback. No, no, maybe no. Come on, do this. Nothing you can lose for that. But after a few months, you can see that you know people from 100, and some of them might be interested in developing your business.
Yeah.
Nobody told them before. It's like they think that because of they live somewhere in the western Tanzania, nobody knows them, so they cannot, because everything they want to do, they must give some bribes. They will not go to universities. But this is all about mentality, that you don't
Yes.
believe that you can. What we are doing, we are saying that yes, you can. Like the guy
Wonderful.
was asking about the idea, the app connecting farmers or groceries. So this is my dream. So I have dreams. Okay, we will do this for you, free of charge. We'll get it. And November 3, we have a kickoff with two software developers, and we'll create this app for them. And it was
Yes.
wow. So what I should do now? Go to groceries and go to farmers because they will have the app to connect the two parties to not have like the other middleman having the same price. So right now the market will set the price. This is about mentality that majority of people think
So
they do.
really having to teach them.
yeah,
To
that
teach
is
them.
easy. Take the LinkedIn, ask people, not for money, but ask for feedback for your solutions, feedback
Yeah,
for your ideas. And this is how you
yeah,
build connections.
yeah,
And this is maybe it's like so. Even if we can say it's a bit stupid because it's so easy, but yes, yes, it works.
anything's easy when you know, I guess,
Yes,
which is what you're helping them to get to realize that these this technical world provides you a whole heap of tools and opportunities that you're not even tapping into because they seem to have some barrier in the way they're thinking, limited thinking around what
yes,
they can and can't do.
yes, yes.
Yeah,
It's about this mentality aspect, and then it's about lack of skills. But uh, we do some trainings in how to create your
yeah,
personal brand through the Instagram and other things when everybody of them have those apps. For example, we do master classes how to apply for grants because
yes,
the only one way when we are, for example, we very often ask for feedback. What do you think
mm.
about our concept notes? And I see this concept note and I see this is created by ChatGPT. Like, oh my God. So now I'm giving the feedback for ChatGPT work. And for example, you read that what are the project outcomes? We will support a lot of people. So this is no outcome. This is not specific measurable result.
It's too broad. Yes, yeah, 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 yeah,
So we do master classes saying, okay, what are data? Why this project is important? What's the theory of change? The schedule day by day, activity by activity, how time it takes? What's the unit cost for each activities, for each tangible things you are buying, etc. And we see progress. I see
yeah,
that people start to think as it should be done, and we have more and more alumni who applying for grants right now, even using
yeah.
Humanity Badge, and they make it.
That's great. I love that. And are you finding that? So, how do people find Unsung Heroes Foundation? So, where do you get your funds from? I know you said you partner with partner organizations. Is it private sector funding? Is it obviously we know that the humanitarian US aid you mentioned is no longer much of a
Not
fund.
yet,
So,
because it's not obvious, for example, for ordinary venture capital or innovators that we are not funded by private business, but we are funded by, for example, the Polish Ministry of Foreign Affairs. We are
right.
funded by the Polish American Freedom Foundation when we do the project Moldova, transferring the experience of creation of innovation ecosystem from Poland to Moldova.
Mm.
Suddenly, some unsung heroes became laureate of the best startup accelerator in Central Europe, selected by Global Startup Awards. It was kind of booster for recognize unsung heroes. Maybe the name unsung heroes is like kind of we're still unsung, but more and more people know us. But it's mostly through local partners. Everywhere we go, we find the grassroots NGOs, and they are saying about us. We are doing some online meetings at the beginning. Then through the networks, we start different programs in concrete country. Like in Chad, for example, one project with presenting computers for women entrepreneurship centers with one partner, and the project with UNDP with another one, the one with Wells, where we supported local organizations, also with writing proposals with high standards that we know we understand
Yeah.
and we get this, but it's majority by local partners and funding. Actually, we had funding from one university in Poland, one other startup like a virtual CFO. It's called Wallet Ranger, but these are Poland-based companies. But mostly it's from multinational sector like UNDP and
Yeah.
Polish aid program. For now, I believe
Yeah.
gonna be, I believe and hope so, that some private
Yeah.
companies would be supporting our activities as well.
Yeah, yeah. So I imagine those connections, grassroots connections, must be critically important in getting that work done locally in these
Yes,
countries. Yeah, we're just having a freezing problem. So, welcome back after the freezing. So, we were just talking about your connections on the ground and the significance of having those connections locally to be able to get these projects actually working well.
Yes, it's required because you must have a local guide
Yeah,
to give you some connections, even if there are some countries or regions that once you come there, and it's not always very clear information, like in chat. Once you come to chat, you have 3 days to register yourself in the police
yeah,
that you are in the country. Despite the fact that you are in the border control on the airport, you must go to the police.
yeah,
So if you do not have this local guide, it's sometimes maybe a bit danger for you. So it's always because
yes,
of the law. So yes, and they have a big knowledge about needs of people because they support communities on the ground. So if we have chains of development aid organizations from the global ones onto those on the grassroots with 5 or 6 middlemen inside,
mm,
grassroots are the ones who know people needs very, very well. Many of them
yes,
having the lowest amount of money, they have the highest impact for people because
yeah,
they grew together. Some of them became humanitarian workers on the ground. Some of them live somewhere as farmers, but they
yeah.
do know each other. So the connection we and the local partner is brilliant. It's like mutual understanding, and it's win-win situation for both parties.
Yeah. So, like I said, it's quite a big journey to go from an investment banker to, what it is you're doing now. That's a big leap. And I'm sure there's plenty of people that are listening to the podcast or that may be coming across this who are in jobs or would like to do this and don't know how to do it. Given the fact that you've made such a complete switch in terms of your career direction, what would your advice be to people who are sitting in a job and they've got this idea and maybe think that it's not possible or think that, or it might seem overwhelming? What would your advice be to someone who was wanting to start a career in social impact, particularly those who are not coming to it straight from uni or studying that way, not from a background in social? What would your advice to them be?
So they can start as mentors. So they can join different organizations, foundation, incubators that they want to support as mentors. If the job is about finance, they can support organization in kind of creation of budgets for different projects for grassroots NGOs. If this is about marketing and sales, they can teach people in other part of world about digital marketing, about online analytics, how to measure how many people comes to your website and those kind of things.
Yeah.
So I think it's the easiest way. We did something else, so just started on some heroes, but maybe you must be a bit crazy to make it. But stop everything else and create a foundation. But if you cannot, you can become a mentor and support on that way. The more mentorship you're offering, presenting, the more people you know, and one day you can also launch your own nonprofit organization or even something else, but focusing on humanity, focusing on social impact.
Yeah. I like the fact that you note that being a little bit crazy doesn't hurt, right? If you're going into the unknown, it might seem from the outside to be crazy, but actually it's not, because what my observation of you is you've taken, and even your advice, it shines through. You took something that you knew really well and just applied it with a humanitarian lens
Mhm,
and went, how can I lend my expertise and my knowledge and my experience to
mhm.
help other people in less fortunate
So
circumstances?
let's take into account your case. You are good
Mm.
at measuring social impact, so you can be the right hand for different organizations that are required to
Mm.
measure this
Yeah.
um, by your support. So you
Mm.
can tell them what's the first point of the first day when we measure the salary or health condition and so on, and the last day. They do not know. It's
Yeah.
more, yeah, we have a lot of good things we do, so we are good in social impact. Without without your expertise, they think that the answering yes, we do a lot of good things and we have a lot of social impact is a good answer. But we both
Yes.
know it's not a good answer because you
It's
need to,
not a good
okay, just
answer.
add like 25% from this to this in 1 year of time, etc. But they do know this. We must educate them.
Yes.
So this is how, for example, you as a mentor can support grassroots NGOs.
Yeah.
Feel
Yeah.
invited.
I think that's a really good point, that it's one thing to do good things and to want to do good things. It's another to know how to do it in a way that will sustain it, that will allow you to attract the funding, to allow you to do the things that you need to do and to do it well. Because there is, everyone can do lots of good things. And like you said, what is the outcome, and being able to have the right language and the right stories to tell and data to collect to be able to let people know what it is that you're actually doing. So that's definitely true from what I do as well. So I know you've got a flight to catch, so I'm conscious not to allow this to go on too long. But is there anything else you would like us to cover before we wrap this up and let you get to your flight?
It's about stakeholders' perspectives. Everybody must be aware that when you're doing a non-profit organizations, people mostly don't understand you because you speak with business. Business means numbers. When we speak with international NGOs, it's about impact, but also about their own costs. Because when we say we give you the solution and your beneficiaries will get something value $1 million, but it also means that they must hire people to do monitoring of that. So
Yes.
you must always think about the interest of your stakeholder at what can be the pain point, because you solve the one problem but generate another one.
Yeah.
It's many often it happens, for example, in Africa, like with waste and other things like that. You give a lot of food, so then you have a lot of papers, and you must clean this. So one you solve the one problem and you got the another one after a few
You
days.
got to the unintended consequences of what you do. You really need to
Yes.
think through what it is you're going to do, and what are the flow-on effects of that intervention or
Yes,
activity
exactly.
that you're bringing in, for sure. And that's a really good point. I think that's something a lot of people, it's easy to overlook. You just can't know what you don't know sometimes, and you need to be mindful of it. And I noticed you mentioned the monitoring as well, which I think is another thing that quite often goes overlooked, the ongoing monitoring. Yeah. That's really great. So, Radek, where can people find you? Where can people find Unsung Heroes and find you?
So from one side, you can get information on our website, unsung.tech. You can catch me on LinkedIn, or people can, if somebody would like to contact directly, you can. I hope they can feel free to contact you, and you can share.
I will make, yeah, like honestly, Radek, I will make sure that it's included in the comments below so that people will be able to contact Radek direct, whether it is you want to be involved in his projects, involved in Unsung Heroes, or to know more about what Radek does, or perhaps even better, perhaps you are interested in funding some of his humanitarian tech work. That would be fantastic. I'm sure Radek would love to hear from you. So we'll put those details below. And it's been an absolute pleasure, Radek, to hear your story. It's really fantastic to hear that no matter what someone's background is, that you can apply it in that humanitarian context and really shift people's lives and help them to thrive. I really appreciate you taking the time to spend with me here today. Thank you, Radek.
Thank you. Same on my side.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for watching, and if you're listening, thank you for listening. Remember to hit the like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe. When you subscribe to the channel, I get more interesting guests, and we can all learn, grow, and share our stories together. Thank you for listening. Remember, hit the like button, share, subscribe.